Welcome along to our wonderful live studio audience. Thank you to everybody who has made the journey to come here to dissect this budget. Just shows how important it is to people, doesn't it, really? But is Rachel Reeves the worst Chancellor in history? Before the election, Labour said they would not raise your taxes.
Not raise income tax.
Rachel Reeves then produced the highest tax-raising budget in history. Then she said she wouldn't do it again.
In terms of whether we would be doing something similar in the future, no. This was a budget to reset. It means our public finances are now on a firm footing, and the trajectory of public spending is much more honest. So we're never going to need to do a budget like this again. This was a once in a Parliament reset so that we start on the right foot, and also to give businesses, families and markets confidence that we now do have our public finances on a firm footing.
Today, she did it again. They raised 43 taxes today. They've raised tax by 66 billion quid in just 16 months. They promised no increases to national insurance.
Not going to increase the taxes that working people pay, their income tax, their national insurance and their VAT.
They made employers pay more national insurance. 309,000 more people are unemployed. And today, she froze the NI thresholds, so millions more people will be in a higher tax bracket. 1 in 4 workers will be paying more income tax, the higher rate, by 2030. She said she would end the use of asylum hotels.
I can confirm today that, led by the work of my right honourable friend, the Home Secretary, we will be ending the costly use of hotels to house asylum seekers in this Parliament.
Well, they might be sticking to that line, but asylum accommodation spending is going to triple. They're going to triple it. They promised to champion British farming. They hammered farmers with a death tax, and today farmers were arrested for protesting as she read out her speech consigning millions more people to economic misery.
Have to keep standing up for farming until there are changes.
But we, the people, are the power, aren't we? You know, if we don't stand up now, we're not going to have an open house chance.
She promised to support drivers and cut motoring costs. Today, pay per mile taxes were introduced. You've got taxes for a taxi, your electric vehicle, the price of that, and your tax is going up as well. She promised a budget for growth.
Mine will be a budget for growth, with fairness at its heart, and a budget that supports businesses to create jobs and to innovate.
There will be no growth for years. She said it was her dream to become Chancellor. Well, it's a nightmare for all of us, isn't it? She's useless. She's crippling this country. The only people that she's benefiting, as far as I can tell, are foreigners, illegal migrants, the feckless and the work shy. So, when Kemi Badenoch said this...
At the last budget, she said she was proud to be the country's first ever female Chancellor. After this budget, she will go down as the country's worst ever Chancellor.
She's right, isn't she?
We're living in a time of what feels like pretty significant social change, and it makes us question things that we've even taken for granted for decades. And one of those at the moment that people are wondering about is actually money. Is the money in your bank account safe? Should you be investing elsewhere? Are we looking at a potential global crash? What will it mean for your savings? Is there a way that you could be using your money that might be outside of government control even? Well, TallyMoney is potentially one solution. So I'm delighted to say that I'm joined today by the CEO and founder of TallyMoney, Cameron Parry. What is TallyMoney?
Well, at TallyMoney, you basically get gold you can spend. So we give people an individual account in their name, everyday account. They get a sort code, an account number. They use that account just like they would pounds from their bank, but it's milligrams of gold that we brand as Tally.
Okay. Why would you do that, though? What is the benefit to the customer instead of just having a normal pound sterling account?
Gold's performance against the pound is above 11% per annum over the last 25 years on average. But we still need money in our daily lives, and we have savings. We know that it's good common sense and prudent to save up for things, not just living credit. You know, whether it's a holiday or a rainy day, your retirement planning, you need to have money in your life, basically, that you can rely on, that's dependable, that nobody meddles with, that nobody can weaponise against you, which is another element of government control when it's the government currency, which we could talk about another time. And it should be pretty simple and straightforward, and that's what we deliver at Tally. And really, we just want people to feel safe and happy with their money. There was a time when the bigger your bank balance, the more confident you felt. Now it's like, I need to do something with it. I can't leave it there. In Tally, you can.
OK, brilliant. Cameron Parry from TallyMoney, thank you so much.
Thank you, Bev.
Right, let's get the views of my panel on this. I mean, the topic for this hour is basically, we're going to zone in, aren't we, on the asylum accommodation, I think, as well. But there is a gentleman with his hand at the back. We've got a gentleman with the microphone there. Is she the worst Chancellor ever, do we think? Come on, who's going to go first on this? Worst Chancellor ever?
Yes.
Adam?
Yes, she is the worst Chancellor ever. I mean, what other Chancellor has cried in the chamber and sent bond markets spiralling? She's weak. She's so unpopular. The polls are saying she's the worst or most unpopular Chancellor ever. The polls are also saying that Keir Starmer is the most unpopular Prime Minister ever. Let's face it here. Labour are toast. They are absolutely falling apart. The country, both left, centre and right, absolutely despise them.
All right, just say it's the broken promise. I mean, that's one of the things I was really trying to highlight there, which is the whole thing they said either before the last election or after the last budget versus what we've got today. It's the broken promises.
There's a real gap between Labour's rhetoric on, we're easing the pressure on working people. This is a budget for growth. It's everything but. People are facing the highest tax burden since World War II, crumbling public services, high energy bills, high mortgages, and she wants to tax them more. I mean, it's punitive. It's punishing them. People don't have any more to give. They really don't. They don't have any more to give. They just want a government that backs them.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I think that the real tragedy here, I mean, I'm no supporter of the Labour Party, but Rachel Reeves has no strategy whatsoever. If she had a strategy, I probably wouldn't like it, but at least there'd be a certain coherence to what the government was doing.
The strategy is to tax.
Well, I mean, that's not what she promised previously. I don't think that was her intention. She just assumed that by the mere act of her and Keir Starmer assuming high office, that growth would miraculously appear, the economy would miraculously stabilise. So, unfortunately, we've got a Chancellor who is just moving from one crisis to the next, where success is just getting through the next 24 hours, and that is an incompetent way to run the British economy.
So go on, Paul. The accusation is that she's the worst and the most deceitful Chancellor ever.
There is a strategy for growth, because if you have the trade deals, for example, with India, the EU and the US, that will lead to growth. If you put money into the infrastructure, the house building, the transport, particularly the things announced just today, that leads to growth. There's a number of things you have to do in the economy that are longer term. You can't get it all overnight. Liz Truss tried to do it overnight, but you can't do it overnight. It may take years, but there is a growth. Now, you keep saying, Patrick, flatlining growth, no growth. The OBR prediction is that it's been upgraded. Our growth is upgraded from where it was. Now, it's still slow, sclerotic and low. I'm not saying we're booming and going
upgraded
well,
for this year, downgraded for every successive year.
But there is growth being forecast by the OBR. It's not flatlining at all. They're saying there will be growth, and I think you can build on that. So,
the OBR today
let's be a bit more optimistic.
But the OBR today said, I think it was 0.313 that I read today, that none of the policies announced today will generate growth. That's the OBR. No policies will generate
the trade
growth.
deals will.
We're taxing a spending at record rates, and the government. People expect the government to do everything, but GDP is not supporting that.
Okay.
We're not having growth in GDP.
Okay, can we go to the audience? We've had a great audience so far tonight. I don't think it's going to change now. There's a gentleman on the front row with the microphone.
Hello, Patrick. Yeah.
Hello.
Well, she's known as Rachel Thieves, isn't she? Oh, sorry, Reeves. But anyway,
Did you think of that yourself?
You just said about that they're going to put up the prices of triple the for the migrant accommodation. We shouldn't be paying a single penny. We should never have paid anything towards the accommodation in the first place. If anything, these people need to be deported, and the countries where they're from, they need to pick up the tab. The British public have had enough. Okay. And quite frankly, Paul, I don't know how you can defend Labour. I really don't. As soon as Adam speaks, you always look at him each time, and it's just you're deluded. You're deluded.
It's just polite if someone's talking to you. You look at them.
It's the way you look at him.
I'll tell you why.
It's the way I look.
Most on the left
can't help the way I look. I'm afraid.
Most on the left will not like me speaking because I'm saying what the people of this country actually think.
You're speaking the truth. That is what the British public are thinking.
What the left don't like is inconvenient truths.
What about the point was about hotels? Okay, here's a point.
Next.
No, okay. Yeah. I wanted to talk about hotels, but we're going to get to that later.
We are going to do it next. Sorry, Paul.
No.
Just because otherwise we double up. So I apologise.
Sure.
We'll come to you on it.
That's absolutely
fine. Thank you very much. If anyone else wants to go over the microphone as well. So, there is a man. Yes, hello. At the back there. Hard for me to tell sometimes at the back. Now with the lights off. Go on. So what would you like to say? Because this is more about the kind of broken promises and that stuff.
I understand why there isn't like a cross-party consensus about all the people coming over. Why we don't have offshore processing.
Right.
It's just bizarre. Why wouldn't you have both parties agree? No political point scoring. Kemi says, yeah, I agree, let's do it. We get an offshore processing set up. All that money gets put straight into that. Within, 2 years, people stop coming?
Yeah.
Why hasn't it been done?
All right, you know what? I'm just going to go with what the audience want to talk about, which is clearly what we're going to do next. So we'll double up on it.
Give people what they want, right?
Is this one of the big deceits, then, that they said they were going to shut the asylum hotels, and actually it turns out that we're going to triple the funding for asylum accommodation?
Yeah, 100%, because Shabana Mahmood's brand new immigration plan actually says that if you come on a boat, you get a 2-year fully welcome for all-inclusive stay in hotels. That's why she's had to increase it. Labour is just refusing to acknowledge that illegal entry in our country is a crime and they should be treated as criminals and detained and deported. And the reason why they can't acknowledge it, because what illegal migrants are doing is that they are using legislation such as the ECHR and the Refugee Convention as a shield. But those were never meant to prevent us from deporting illegal migrants. We have to go back to basics. You enter this country illegally on a boat, you are a criminal and you will be detained and deported. And don't tell me there's no returns agreement, by the way, because with the guy in Epping, he was returned to Ethiopia quickly. So when there is the political will to do it, it can be done.
Okay. Well, it turns out Paul was just trying to do it. So there you go. I mean, Tyson, it is a broken promise, isn't it? This stop the boats and the closing the hotels, smashing the gangs, and Labour are going to triple the amount of money on asylum accommodation. Go on.
Well, I think there's a degree of agreement that I hope we can all reach, which is that the idea of putting asylum seekers into hotels was possibly the worst public policy disaster of any government in the post-war period. It plainly was expensive, unworkable, stupid. It led to all kinds of problems in local communities, people on the streets demonstrating and all the rest of it. And I'm not going to play the blame game, but it was just obviously a stupid thing to do. The question then is, what do you do about it? And we've said the Labour Party is going to try and close these hotels by the time of the next election when that comes. I think that's a very laudable goal.
Well, not if you move them all into houses of multiple occupancy, which is what's
we're opening up the camps so we can put people into camps. But then there's demonstrations against the camps as well.
Actually, from what I can see, she's welcome everywhere. But
so at least that will then close the hotels. But then, as you mentioned, Shabana Mahmood, I think looking at Denmark and look at the way they've done it, she's opened up the idea that you can reduce these pull factors, make it much harder, less attractive, so the supply is taken.
This can be.
And you have to smash the gangs too. And I know everyone rolls their eyes. Look at those eyes rolling. Look at those eyes rolling. But that business model.
How many gangs have been smashed?
In terms of that,
not many.
But that's still the right thing to try, isn't it? Because these people are profiting. We're also, just a tiny more point on the hotels. We're also taking the money off those people who profiteered off the hotels, driving around in Lambos and Mercs off the back of the hotels they own. So we need to take that money, and we've started to get that money.
In order to crack this, you've got to do two things. You've got to speed up however many people are coming in. The asylum claiming process from about 18 months to about 18 days. How on earth does it take 18 months?
If you come on a boat, you cannot claim asylum.
Right, well, that will be done within 18 days then. That's fine. It is ludicrous that any of these claims are taking a year and a half. So there's a backlog of vast numbers of people sitting around for that period of time. Also, what is wrong with actually building a civilised but not luxurious encampment somewhere, right? If you look at the number of people,
we already have them. These RAF bases are already there.
If you look at the number of people in, if you look at the number of people in asylum hotels, it is almost exactly the number of people who go of a given day to the Glastonbury Festival.
All right.
I think I might have a solution. Take the Glastonbury site and make that the big asylum hotel.
Very quickly.
Look,
We're going to pick this up after the break.
If the government had a will to stop this crisis, this asylum seeker crisis, they could do it. We've had a group called Raise the Colours that have gone over there and stopped more boats than our government has in the last year. Stop the hotels. It's sending a message to the world that you can come over here and have a taxpayer-funded holiday. They're getting drunk, they're gambling, they're committing rapes and they're committing sexual assaults in our towns. British people are working to fund the holidays of foreign migrants. It has to stop.
Yeah.
OK. All right. It does tie in with the broken promise. We rattled off a few, so we're going to be talking about broken promises and the fact that, yes, you might have missed it today, but the cost of asylum accommodation is actually going to triple, just as all of our taxes are going up. That's fantastic. But